Alright, so let's give this another go. The first time that I tried this a few moments ago, I had some problems with the screen. Alright, so I had problems with the stream. This is actually the first video of this type that I am going to do. I put up a video a few days ago explaining that I now feel guided to share my gifts more openly. And as part of doing that, I am guided to come on live and answer any questions that you might have pertaining to your twin, either as a person or the union of your twin flame connection, or even questions you have about yourself. I'm totally open to answering those questions live for you. All you have to do if you're interested is type your question in the chat box. If you feel that there are any relevant bits of information that I need to know in order to better understand what you're asking or get more clarity on what it is that you'd like to know specifically, put those details with your text as well. You just have to be willing to have your question asked openly, as well as answered openly. Please refrain from putting any, super specific, personally identifiable information, such as an email or phone number or anything like that. Just ask the question. Maybe you want to know if your twin is aware, if you're not in connection. Maybe you'd like to know if you're also in separation, when you can expect to have your twin reappear and how they might reappear, whether it be in the 3D or 5D. If you are currently in connection, maybe you'd like to know, does your twin actually, even if they don't know what the word twin flame is, are they aware that your connection is greater than other connections that they've had before? Maybe you were recently in a fight with your twin flame, and you want to know how that's going to turn out. Whatever the question is, I'm completely open to answering your questions. I felt led to do this, and I felt a pull from the universe. I can't say with certainty the reason I feel led to do videos such as this, but if I'm assuming correctly, I assume that it is because of the fact that when I put out readings where I have messages for the collective, they resonate with some people and they don't resonate with others. That's a given. Sometimes I'm going to have channelings that resonate with other people and they don't resonate with others. But I don't want to feel like I'm leaving people out. And so, again, I can't say with certainty that this is why I feel led to do videos like this. But if I had to put my finger on it, I would guess that this is the reason why. While I'm waiting for anyone to ask a question, I only have one person viewing at this time, but that's expected. Typically, I only have one person at a time. I don't know what I have to do to get it up. But while I'm waiting to see if I get any questions, we'll wait a few minutes to see if I get any questions. We'll wait approximately 10 minutes. If we don't, I don't want to drag this on. But let's talk a little bit while I'm waiting about what's going on with the current energies. I know last month for me, as has most likely been the case for you as well, it was a month of change. Change was the word, the name of the game last month. Personally, I can say that I was expecting the change to be directly with my twin. But for me, my change had a lot to do with myself. I can't say with certainty if, with you, if you're going to notice changes that happen more so with yourself or with your twin last month, but I'm fairly certain in whatever capacity you look back at last month, the month of May was a month of change for you. Last month, I had my views on a lot of stuff change, and it's not like it just happened overnight. It was kind of um, a culmination of from the start of the month to the end of the month, um, just views on stuff kind of changed. Relationships changed. And it's weird because they were relationships that, while they weren't exactly the relationship with my twin, they impacted um, myself personally, and myself as a person impacts my twin flame union. And so I hope that for last month, in whatever way you changed, you're able to identify it, because if you don't, if you're not aware of I don't want to say a problem, but if you're not aware of something, it's really hard to fully utilize the potential that comes along with it. If you are not aware of how you may have changed as a person, how your twin may have changed as a person, how circumstances may have changed around you, it's going to be pretty hard for you to determine the best ways in which to utilize how that change occurred. So, piggybacking off of last month, yes, it was a month of great change, some for, better, some for worse. You should be noticing, even 3 days into this month, how the changes of last month are impacting you at this moment. For a lot of us, there has been a resuming of connection. For some of us, that connection with our twin has only been in the 5D, and that might be manifesting itself in the form of maybe more dreams that involve your twin, more telepathic communication. That connection might be in the form of the universe speaking to you or showing itself more to you in reference to your twin. Maybe you're noticing their name a lot more in various places. Maybe you're getting signs from the universe in terms of looking at the clock, often just by chance at 11:11, at 1:11, at 3:33, whatever the case is. You might find, I know at one point, not recently, but at one point a few years ago, in the formative years of my journey, literally for weeks, I woke up at 3:33 in the middle of the night, just no alarm, completely just out of the blue. Night after night after night, you might be experiencing something like that. Maybe you had a song or something that you shared with your twin and you're noticing it a lot more. Something that I have noticed over the last few years that you may be noticing now in this moment is maybe you're noticing their area code um, around you, whether it be on the clock or just in general, you're noticing those numbers. Take note of that. That's a way in which that you might be experiencing connection. Then there's the almost coveted form of communication, of connection that some people are getting in this moment, and that is the actual 3D connection with your twin. And I'm feeling led to say that don't feel bad if you want one form of connection, aka the coveted 3D connection, and you're not getting that in this moment, because the form of connection that you have is not worse or better than another form. The universe will always give you what you need in the moment that you receive it. So if you are receiving connection in the form of signs and synchronicities, whereas, before you weren't experiencing it either at all or to that same extent, that doesn't mean that it's worse than or less than having your twin physically with you in the 3D, okay? Don't feel bad about it. You have what you need. The universe will provide it to you in the moment that you need it. I just felt led to say that. I also feel led to say that, myself included, and I want you to say that I want to note that I don't keep referencing myself or what I'm going through because I either like talking about myself or because I am using this as some sort of therapeutic thing for myself. No, I use myself because it is a personal point of reference that I can use for you to hopefully understand what I'm trying to communicate and to make it more clear. But myself included, going back to my point, as part of the change of last month, I can say that personally, it was, some things were traumatic. Not every aspect of last month and the changes that were entailed in last month were traumatic, but some of the things were. I experienced being physically assaulted by someone who is literally a family member, and it was traumatic. And while that experience in itself was traumatic, I learned something bigger, okay? And it's actually something that when I look at the very beginning stages of my twin flame, I think my twin communicated something, not necessarily about the event, but something in reference to the lesson that I learned in that experience without even knowing it, okay? Um, so, you know, you might be experiencing something like that, where if you take a look back, you notice something. But anywho, I'm not seeing anyone come in and ask any questions at this point, so I am just going to go ahead and end this live stream. I am going to, I do have another message that I am going to put up, but it will not provide the option for you to ask live questions and get live answers. So I'm kind of bummed that this didn't go as I wanted. I was really hoping that somebody would have asked the question. That didn't happen, but better luck next time, right?